If we stop to think, we realize that we are living in a unique time period of the history of our planet. We are destroying ourselves through continuous genocidal wars, poisoning ourselves with chemical and nuclear waste, and altering the Earth's climate. 3 million years of development of evolution, through thousands of species and experimentation, and what is the purpose of all this? The efforts to evolve and to develop the human brain have also produced scientists who are using their marvelous talents to invent more and more complex and powerful weapons. Where did the mistake begin? The problem is not in our brain, but in the way we use it. If we consider ourselves to be individual fragments in the world, separated from each other, we become strangers to nature and to other human beings, and also to ourselves. This vision places human being against human being against nature, economic affair against economic affair, nation against nation. Physicists say that the universe is not a series of separated fragments, but a cosmic entity in which everything is interdependent and cannot be separated from all the rest. Therefore, the environment, society, and ecosystems must be considered as being part of a whole. In order to modify this reality, there is a need for a higher vision, a universalist vision. To respond to these problems, Amurt Amurtel volunteers have been creating centers like Baba Nagar around the world. Baba Nagar is a center founded on the principles of neo-humanistic education, born in the mind of Prabhat Ranjan Sarkar, philosopher and social studies professor. Baba Nagar is a self-sufficient center which has been developed on several fronts: the environment, support of poor communities, organic farming, and neo-humanistic education. A center where human beings grow in harmony in the 3 levels of existence: physical, mental, and spiritual. Where man, the individual, immersed in nature, can remember who he is, breathe clean air, eat healthy food, or the least contaminated possible. Where one can understand that giving and not receiving is what we are here to learn in this life. Where one learns not to identify oneself with one's own mind, and that emotions are not the self, but simple waves in the ocean of the mind, which still need to be calmed. Where one can understand that life itself is an episode which can end at any moment, and that loving, giving, and finding oneself is the essence. Where one learns to read life's instruction manual, and so understand how to live it fully. Where one treats his own body as a temple, and at the same time an instrument, making it pure through a healthy, whole, and balanced vegetarian nutrition. Where, through the practicing of yoga exercises thousands of years old, one is liberated from the predator-like trap of a consumerist society which guides, instructs, and conditions him, making him a part of a mass which moves to the music of those who take advantage of him and make him suffer. In order to create all this, we asked ourselves some questions. If we, who are already adults, thinking back to our past after having made many mistakes, could rebuild our life, how would we recreate it? What do we know now which is important and that our parents never taught us, and we learned through many years of trials, errors, and suffering? What is it that no one has ever taught us in our learning and educational process? The answer is to be happy, or better, to be. Everyone speaks about happiness, but what is happiness? True happiness. To us, happiness is freedom, detachment from what is small to devote ourselves to what is great. It is to love, to give, to feel that we are the others, that we are all part of the one, that this life is a passage, a comedy in which we are both the main protagonists and the extras at the same time. But how can we obtain this on a practical level? The most important project in Baba Nagar is the Children's Home. Today, we host 21 children coming from very poor neighborhoods of Medellín and of El Carmen de Viboral. Here, children grow in a safe, clean, and welcoming environment, and love as a transversal value is all we do. We inspire and teach children to responsibly take care of their bodies, minds, and spirit. The body, through a healthy vegetarian nutrition, yoga exercises, games, and open-air activities. The mind, with quiet times, listening to the silence, in silence, becoming aware of breathing, being able to think and be rational, all things which develop willpower, creativity, and self-control. The spirit, through meditation, exercising introspection, universal love, and the connection with God. Considering that these children come from families and communities which are completely disadvantaged, it is indispensable to work very hard to infuse in them universal values. Self-esteem, honesty, solidarity, responsibility, and respect are some of the values we teach and reinforce. Among other things, we do this through the example of those who are close to them, the stories we read to them, or that they write themselves, or through representations of which they are the protagonists themselves, and the films we allow them to see. In these families and communities, anarchy is a common factor, and children spend a great amount of time on their own and without people who take care of them in a responsible manner. We confronted this problem by creating a rhythm in all activities we do and by defining a scheduled time for playing, eating, studying, working, and so on. We put a strong emphasis on order and cleanliness, both personal and in the surrounding space, but also through example and teaching. We have a system of punishment for undisciplined children. What child isn't at one time or another? Which goes from making them think about what is right or wrong up to isolation to think, usually sitting in a chair in a place where they can see the others play, or not allowing them to watch a film, or giving them a task that we know they do not like, or not bringing them to the Baba Nagar Little School, where they usually play, dress up for role-playing, and so on. They are not physically punished, also because, unfortunately, they have to bear this type of treatment in their homes. All this work is surrounded by a climate of love, safety, and good example. Kisses, hugs, praise, individual talks are the main ingredient which allow these children to grow up in a better way. Example is not only important, but fundamental. So, people who work with children work constantly on themselves as well, to be able to be inspiring people which the children will want to imitate. Patience, joy, and positivity are our permanent challenges. Our effort to educate and instruct these children in the best way possible is unfortunately hindered by the government's formally regulated education. To receive a small economic contribution from the government, about €10 a month, The children have to prove school attendance, and therefore we are forced to send them to a public school where they learn little and in a bad manner. Public education, as taught by the majority of teachers, rather than creating a love for studying and knowledge, becomes a castrating activity, which creates laziness and lack of will in the children. Our dream is to educate the children ourselves, here in our facilities, on the basis of the concept of neo-humanist thinking, to respond to the needs and requirements of contemporary society, and to prepare them for the life that they will soon have to face. To make this dream a reality, it is necessary to create a specific project and to have it approved by the appropriate state agency, an undertaking which requires a lot of time and perseverance. When are these children unhappy? When we tell them, "It's Friday night, time to go back home." Back to homes that make you cringe, dark rat holes where none of us would ever wish to live. Slums filled with rats and lice, where a humid and smelly mattress sticks out like a throne, and where they all sleep, including the man of the moment. Mothers, single mothers, heads of the family, alone, who work in the streets selling things and selling themselves. They live a hard daily life which swallows them and makes them suffer. Education is the only chance to have a better future for them, for us, for a new world. Let us help them.